Good afternoon, legislators, members of the media, friends, supporters. Welcome, and thank you all for being here. My name is Frank McCarthy. I'm a former member of the state legislature, and it was during those years that I got to know Representative Garcia, how she worked, and I got to respect her very much. I'm also a retired Marine Corps Mustang officer, and I know leadership when I see it. I'm here for one reason today, to introduce to you the next Congresswoman from the 2nd District of the state of New Hampshire. I believe most of us will agree it's time for a change. Representative Custer has failed miserably to represent the people of New Hampshire. Rather, she's in lockstep with the President and his allies, his administration, in continuously perpetuating the lies associated with Obamacare. When more than 62% of Americans believe we're on a wrong track, and we find ourselves awash with a debt that will soon total more than $18 trillion, it's time for new faces and new ideas. Well, a new face is coming in the form of Representative Merlinda Garcia. I'm proud to support Merlinda. She represents to me a new generation of conservative leadership. I'm proud to support Merlinda because I know she will always put New Hampshire first. She understands the federal government has to get out of the way and let local governments take care of local problems. But most of all, I'm proud to support Merlinda because I'm absolutely positive, no doubt in my mind, Merlinda will represent the people of New Hampshire with utmost honesty and unquestionable integrity. So please join me in welcoming the 2nd District of New Hampshire's next Congresswoman, Merlinda Garcia.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. I'm honored to have this group of citizens, colleagues, family, and friends stand with me today. I want to thank Frank McCarthy in particular for his introduction. Frank has been a servant to New Hampshire and the country through his legislative and military service and has been a friend to me that I appreciate greatly during the kickoff to this campaign. So thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great day. I'm delighted to announce my candidacy for Congress in New Hampshire's 2nd District. I believe that public service should be an aspiration, not an ambition or a career. And I think that attitude is foreign to many of our elected officials today, and one of the primary reasons our government has gone astray. Consider our country for a moment. Consider a few of the myriad problems we face that come so easily to the lips of concerned citizens. A $17 trillion debt, less respect from foreign leaders with regard to our strength and exceptionality, our plague of chronically high unemployment. The list goes on and on. But what we need to keep in mind is that these results do not have to be our fate. They are a result of the choices we have made. Current leaders, such as Congresswoman Custer, endorse the very policies that have brought us to this point. We can elect her and continue along the same trajectory, or we can make an effort to stop our country's move toward a dead end. We shouldn't accept a sense of inevitability about America's decline, and that's why I'm running. At heart, I believe there's a reason to still have optimism in America's future. What does our country's current trajectory mean for us? It means bigger and more government and top-down, broadly applied decision-making. It means a continued loss of the American concept of individual responsibility and a slide toward collectivism and progressivism, which is characterized by persistently high unemployment, people leaving the workforce, and declining American competitiveness. The tenets of these governance philosophies are the antithesis of what was expressed by Thomas Jefferson in his first inaugural address as what is the sum of good government. He said, "A wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, and shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits and industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned." Sadly, that vision of government is almost unrecognizable in Washington today. The entire decision-making process has become corrupt. We are at a point where people no longer simply distrust the elected officials that they will keep their word, but they actually have evidence to expect they are being purposefully deceived by the highest office holders in the land. A case in point is our president and our Congresswoman Custer in their advocacy for Obamacare. Representative Custer supports Obamacare, the law that caused tens of thousands of New Hampshire families to receive policy cancellation letters and caused thousands more to pay even higher insurance premiums. This law must be dismantled because it's bad policy, but it's also an example of what's wrong with Washington. Special perks and exemptions for the politically connected, a government bailout of insurance companies guaranteed in the bill, all while the typical American family experiences higher costs, restricted access, and lower quality care. Our system at times appears as though it's rigged against the average American. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of what I've just said may sound merely like talking points against a federal law I disagree with, but please listen closely to the real effects. There's the constituent whose family of 5 children can no longer see the doctor they have had for more than a decade because that doctor is now out of network, according to Obamacare. Or what about the highly trained and experienced pediatrician whose Medicaid reimbursement is $16 an hour compared to the $96 round-trip cost of the government-covered taxi ride to that appointment? What about the advanced specialty care facilities that have been consumer-oriented, transparent, and affordable, but are now being sold to what will be a handful of large providers nationwide? This is a broken system of health care that's only being made worse. I'm running for Congress because I understand how the laws and regulations that seem to flow like a raging river from Washington, D.C. crash against the banks of our state and local communities. The continuous flow of government mandates, regulations, and taxes are literally making it impossible for local government to solve local problems. And the citizen innovators, educators, and entrepreneurs have diminishing incentives, energy, and resources to wade through them. I'm running for Congress because I believe we need leaders who will work to make Washington, D.C. smaller and empower local communities and families. In New Hampshire, the live free or die state of all places, we're supposed to embody bottom-up governance wherein the people are able to make decisions uninhibited by the often heavy hand of the federal government. But the path to a renewed America starts with a commitment that those we elect will take the path of renewal, a path of individual liberty, economic prosperity, and a reinvigorated entrepreneurial spirit unencumbered by the weight of federal overregulation. Happily, in the case of the United States of America, this shouldn't require anything revolutionary or anything inconsistent with our state's and nation's founding and the principles that animated them. It requires, rather, the rejection of the statist, elitist, paternalistic ideology that has for a century been undermining and subverting our constitutionally based system of limited government, separation of powers, federalism, individual liberty, and personal responsibility. The policy changes we need will come from bottom-up governance. The result will be an organic economy driven by innovation, hard work, and competition, rather than by political cronyism. We know it can work because we've done it in New Hampshire. We've faced a historically unprecedented budget hole and managed to responsibly cut spending by 18% and balance a budget without raising taxes. That experience impacted my belief that such results are possible on the federal level as well. If you believe that New Hampshire will respond to the message of smaller government, local decision-making, and a more prosperous economy, then please join us. This is about far more than just you and me. It's about our future. But we cannot change the future if we do not get involved today. So I thank you, and thank you again to the fine women, men and women that are standing here to support me today. Thank you very much.
Mary Linda will stick around and be here for the rest of the lunch recess to answer any of your questions. She will not take questions from the podium, but she will be here if you want to ask questions. Thank you all for attending.